My name is Mark Began. I work for Dublin Bus across public affairs and communications, and I'll be bringing you through the second half of the presentation.
My name is Tim Gaston. I'm the Director of Public Transport Services at the NTA, and I'll be giving a short introduction and just make some closing remarks as part of the presentation.
Good morning, I'm John Barry, working with the NTA on implementing the BusConnects redesign service changes.
Hi, my name is Gareth Quinn. I'm the Central Operation Planning Manager at Dublin Bus.
Great. What I think we'll do, folks, is that I'm going to share the screen, and we can skip the introductory slide because we've obviously already done that. So you should be seeing that appear now for everyone. So obviously we've done the introduction, so I'll hand it over to Tim. It's going to be a presentation about 25 minutes long, folks, which will cover the concept of the network redesign, the big picture around BusConnects, the operational specifics, and the customer information campaign. And we'll obviously have time at the end for any questions that you may have. So I'll just pass you over to Tim.
Thanks, Mark. And we will make the slides available as well at the end of the presentation. You can have a copy of these. What I'd like to do is, by way of introduction, just to remind ourselves, what is BusConnects all about? What is this program that we launched last Sunday? BusConnects, as you may or may not realize, it's a program of projects. There's 9 different activities coming together in one overarching program called BusConnects. We actually launched it way back in 2017 when we recognized that congestion was going to become a major drag on the Irish economy, and we really needed much better public transport. And whilst there was investment coming in heavy rail and light rail and metro and so on, we recognized that we could do something faster on bus. So BusConnects was born. So what is it? It's going to introduce about 230 kilometres of top priority, high priority bus lanes that will make it much easier for public transport vehicles to get into and through and out the centre of our cities. That's going on as the Core Bus Corridor Network, and that's probably the one that has got the most attention from the media and from others because of the nature of the work that's involved in that. But as part of the programme, we're also addressing buses and bus stops and shelters, and you will have hopefully started to notice around the Fingal area and other parts of Dublin the new TFI bus pools and shelters going in with the information carousels. We're also going to tackle fares. We have over the last number of years been simplifying the fare structure, but we're going to make a very significant move, not in this phase. We're not quite ready to do it, but we'll do it in phase 2, which we hope to launch in October, which is the spine from Lucan into Dublin, the C-spine as we call it. And at that point, we will launch what's known as the 90-minute ticket. It's a ticket where, as the name suggests, when you start your journey, you have another 90 minutes to start the second leg of your journey, or third for that matter, which allows people to do intermodal journeys or bus-to-bus journeys without any fare penalty. And that will be a real step forward in encouraging people to do more intermodal travel. Park and Ride has been introduced into the programmes. NTA now has a Park and Ride team that are working on developing sites. Park and Ride will be brought forward. We're also in the process of removing the emissions from our fleet. We have a significant number of hybrid buses now, electric hybrid buses in the streets, and we're also orders now placed for fully electric double and single deck buses to take the lead in the carbon emissions challenge. And we also, as part of the Core Bus Corridor work, we're introducing about 200 kilometres of cycle lanes and cycle tracks. Some of that work has already gone on ahead, partly on the back of the follow-up from the pandemic, where there's been a focus on active travel, which is mainly cycling and walking. And then there's new bus livery. Hopefully you've also seen the new green and yellow buses. So as Dublin Bus follow through in their repainting programme, they will be moving across to this new livery, which is an important step forward as well. All our vehicles will have this, including the ones that Go Ahead provide, or rather that Go Ahead use in the network. So that's what it's about overall. The detail we're going to talk about now, and I'm going to hand over to my colleagues shortly, is the bus network itself. So where do services run? What are they called? What are the timetables and so on? And this project, we started again 2018. We went out first on the back of work that an American consultant called Jared Walker helped us with. We took a network that we thought was an improvement out to the people of Dublin. And whilst many of the improvements were recognised, there was also a huge reaction to it, which was brilliant. We had over 70,000 submissions, which is unprecedented for us for public consultation. But that allowed us to really understand what it was people wanted from their bus network, where they needed to connect, where connections that we weren't aware of that needed to be brought into the network. So we took that all on board. We produced a significantly modified network on the back of that consultation. And then we took a second, because of the level of changes, we took that back to the public again and said, is this the network you're looking for? And we had a much stronger endorsement. There were still some changes that people wanted, but on balance, we reckon that the network we've come up with meets the needs of most people and certainly provides a high level of connectivity. So I'll hand over now to John that will take you through some aspects of it and get into the detail of this presentation. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Tim, and good morning again, everybody. The details of the services will follow shortly from Gareth, but I'll just say a few words about the types of services we're introducing. The new network is made up of spines, radials, orbitals, locals, and expresses. So we have those service types. And in this first phase that's recently come in, we have examples of a spine and a radial. The spine services, as the diagram on the right-hand side of the screen now shows, are designed so that they will come from separate terminals in the suburban areas, and then at some point combine together and run along one of the main radial roads into the city centre. And a key feature of the spine concept is that at that point where they're running together, the timetables will be fully integrated. Unlike today, where the corresponding routes tend not to have integrated timetables, on these routes there will be a smooth interval between buses at all times. Most of the spines are cross-city. The ones we've introduced just recently runs only on the north side, but they will mostly be cross-city, following defined paths through the city centre, so that you will always be aware where your spine is and where it goes from in the city centre, and you'll get that combined frequency on the way out. Next slide shows the radial. The radial is also a service that connects a suburban area with a city centre, but it's not part of the spine. So we have these when we need to provide certain links away from the main radial roads, still going into the city centre. They tend to operate at a lower frequency, and they will have their own self-contained timetable. We haven't at this stage introduced any orbitals, but they're coming very soon in our phased rollout. And the orbitals are a key part of the programme. They provide, as the name implies, much improved cross-suburban links for the kinds of journeys people have always said there should be better bus service for. So there will be higher frequency, and they will go more places, and they will connect with the spines and the radials to open up lots of new journey opportunities. And I'll hand over to Gareth, who will go through the detail of the services.
Hello, good morning. So what's changing? What has changed over in on the Howth Road? You can see where the old routes are, the 29A, the 32, the 31s. So what has happened is the 29A has become the H1, and by and large, it's exactly the same route. In the future, the terminus in Baldoyle will be extended up the coast slightly and then down the Red Arches Road and link with Clongriffin train station. And this will obviously give a much better service and a much better connectivity to the whole area in both directions. The 32 from Malahide has become the H2. I have a slide on the slight change in that. It's a slight change, but it's a significant change for the people in the area of Portmarnock. And then the 31s, there's 3 31 groupings, and we've taken those 3 routes and we've combined them into 2. And the 2 is a much better offering to our customer, and it gives much improved connectivity. In addition to these 3, as mentioned, the H9, if anybody sees the H routes are what we call a peak overlay, and that's just Monday to Friday morning peak, and that's just, they start halfway down on the spine, and that's to give additional capacity to ensure that you know, with the popularity of the services, that people aren't left behind who are starting their journey halfway down. It came in on Sunday the 27th, and there was a number of city centre termini movements, and I'll mention those later. And I also have, as I say, a slide on the 102 32X, which is a small but significant change on the routing. This is the kind of new infrastructure that we're doing, and it's on a linear kind of diagram, because this is kind of bringing us into line with the other modes of transport, the DART, the trains, Lewis. A lot of transport users now are used to this linear kind of view, and we're going that with the buses as well. And as you can see from the top, you've got the H2, which is out in Malahide, you have the H1 starting in Baldoyle, and the H3 over in Howth. And when they come together right in the middle there at All Saints Road, that's when the spine starts. And that's when the 8-minute frequency starts from there to the city centre, and from the city centre to there. And you say, well, how do we get the 8-minute frequency? Over on the right-hand side, you can see the timetables, and it's a significantly enhanced timetable on all 3 day types. And as you can see, if you've got a bus every 15 minutes, it's 4 an hour. So every 30 minutes is 2 an hour. So H1, 2, and 3 is 8 an hour. 8 into 60 minutes gives you 7.5, roughly 8 minutes. And that's where you get the 8-minute frequency. So depending on how many buses you have per hour divided into the hour. And as you can see, that's reflected also on a Saturday and Sunday, which is a huge boost to somewhere, Portmarnock, Malahide, Howth, that eastern seaboard, and the amenities that it offers. Just here now on the 5 boxes on the left, that's the existing services, and the routes on the right are the new services. And as you can see, it kind of depicts. The best one to look at is the Howth services, where we have 3. We had 3, and now we've only 2. But you can see on the south side, there's a Route 6 going all around, and that terminates at the DART station, again giving linkages both ways. And then the H3 also stops outside the DART station and terminates up at the summit, giving a lot more connectivity and a better service to the customer. What have we done? Well, I mean, in every week, there's over an additional 600 trips. This gives, it's close to 11,000 extra kilometers per week, giving an extra coverage, extra weekend services. The spine is 6 to 10 on a Monday to Friday, 6 in the morning till 10 at night, and it's about 9 till 6 on a Saturday and 10 till 6 on a Sunday, giving that 8-minute frequency on all 3 day types. Again, given the increase in services, one of the important things, especially where we've come out of, or we're coming out of COVID now, and the city and the country has been under the thumb for a while. BusConnects is also generating jobs, and just in this one already, we've generated driving jobs, maintenance jobs, backup clerical and managerial jobs. So, I mean, it's just another boost, and it's another benefit from the investment from the government and the NTA. Not only increased services, not only a better frequency, but also a jobs boost, which is very important. Again, just another, this is the Route 6, as mentioned before, it's a radial. Again, what the public sees now is, what our customer sees is a linear. And you can imagine when the orbitals are up and running, and the 3 orbitals are crossing, whether it's the spine or a route like this, at a certain point, I mean, the orbitals, 2 of them are 10-minute frequencies, one is an 8-minute frequency. So you can actually plan your journey. You know when you're getting on, you know how long it's going to take you to get to a certain point, and you know at best you've got an 8 and 10-minute frequencies going across. And as already mentioned, these orbitals going south side, down to the Docklands, generating jobs and entertainment and leisure. Going north side, whether it's colleges or hospitals or Blanchardstown Shopping Centre, etc. Again, giving the customer a frequent connectivity and a great opportunity to expand their movements. Not necessarily always having to go into the city centre, like you have to do a lot today, but trying to get that web network around, that people start moving. And it's in the title, it's BusConnects. You want to connect with an assurance and giving that connectivity to the customer. This is just one significant change that happened on the Coast Road. At the moment, or before it came in, the 102 and 32X is that black line, and it was going up Wendell Avenue and Carrickhill Road. Now we've moved that onto the Coast Road. We've moved what was the 32, it's now the H2, and we've put it in that leg. And the reason we did that is the vast majority of our customers are actually up into that area. So the main 7-day route offering with the enhanced frequency is serving 95% of the people, as opposed to a lot more than it is today. We've 7 or 8 polls we had in the city centre. It's good to get a chance to kind of review what we have and tidy it up. And we made it a lot, again, it's about making it a lot simpler for our customer. We're down to about 4. The services come in on Talbot Street and the customers get off in Talbot Street, and the buses go round, and the H-spine goes from 7591 there, and 130 goes from the stop at the front of Lower Abbey Street. So again, just simpler, just easier to use, and so far it's been very well received by the customers. Now, just hand in terms of information to the public and our customers, just hand over to Mark to finish off.
Thanks, Gareth. Yeah, like Gareth said, so you can see from what Gareth and John and Tim touched on that it is significant change for the customer. It's good news, and it's good news for the northeast of Dublin. And that's why we felt it was really important that we communicated directly and effectively with as many customers and as many people in the northeast of Dublin as possible. So what you're seeing in this slide really is a lot of the collateral that's been rolled out over the last couple of weeks. And that's been pushed out across a number of channels. So we've been doing out-of-home advertising, utilising all the assets that Dublin Bus and the NTA would have, bus shelters, digi-shelters, as well as on-board posters, T-sides, and also utilising other public transport advertising across rail and DART. And we've obviously also been using traditional methods like Q102, FM 104, 98 and Spin to access customers via radio, as well as, also aware that people's listening habits have changed. People now are in a much more digital world, and that's why we've engaged with Spotify to have advertising on that platform, again, to reach as many people as possible and to inform them of the changes. You can see from what the guys have set out, it is very localized, obviously, to the northeast of Dublin and coming into Abbey Street. So we've engaged with local press in terms of the northeast, in terms of the Northside People, the Gazette and the Herald, as well as local radio, which is a really effective way of targeting customers through Near FM. And we've also used social media across Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of the content pushed out across Transport for Ireland channels, Go Ahead channels and Dublin Bus as well. And all of this has been designed to support the Transport for Ireland Always On digital plan. So as part of that, we've secured a Dublin City FM live drive sponsorship, as well as using paid social media to support the organic content I talked about earlier, and then that's across obviously the main 3 channels being Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. But we're acutely aware that people really will, at the heart of it, want operational information. And that's why we've kind of utilised the TFI website as well as the Dublin Bus website as being a hub for this phase 1. And on that hub, really, there's the frequently asked questions. So like some of the stuff Gareth would have touched on, I used to get this route, what is the new route from the 27th? And on the hub as well is also a really detailed customer information booklet, which would touch on some of the stuff that we have shown you today, but goes into much greater detail, as well as obviously also a network map and contact information and timetable information. We're conscious that people, may need to talk to customer sales representatives, and that platform is available through both the NTA and Dublin Bus. And obviously also we've been utilising the social media, like I said. So we've had posts scheduled all through the launch week, and that's continued now. It has been a sustained campaign to inform as many customers as possible. And like I said there, it is significant change, and it is good news, and that's why we wanted to get it to as many customers as possible. And that meant really reaching them directly in their homes. So we had over 73,000 households and 7,000 businesses, which obviously the Chamber would be aware of, that we've been utilising the company to deliver door drops to those locations. That started on the 24th of June, about 3 days out from the launch, and that's continued as we move beyond the launch date, just to ensure that customer information and that information is given to businesses and that they have as much content about the changes as possible. And we've also utilised onboard distribution. So obviously Dublin Bus has a significant fleet across the northeast of Dublin, and we felt that was a really effective and impactful way of reaching as many customers as possible. And like I said, the whole sort of mantra has been speaking directly to customers where possible. Obviously, we're acutely aware that, public health guidelines have to be adhered to, but we have secured street ambassadors who were on street from the 27th of June, so obviously launch day, and they've been there to assist customers, you know, whether it be some, you know, to discuss the termini changes that Gareth has touched on, or maybe that Strand Hill, Wendell and Carrick Hill Road changes. And we've been really targeting the sort of key hubs around the northeast of the city. So Howth, Malahide, Baldoyle city centre, and like I said, that change there at Strand Road, Carrick Hill and Wendell. And there was a large presence on the launch day. It actually got good traction on social media as well. And we sustained that beyond the launch and right up to the 9th of July. So it's been a really effective way of engaging with customers. And I know we've been getting feedback as the spine has been implemented, is that customers really find that having that street ambassador on hand is a good way of bouncing any questions off them or just allaying any fears that they may have. So I'm going to hand you over to Tim. He'll bring you through some closing remarks, and then we'll have time for questions.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks very much. Thanks, Gareth, too, and John, for taking us through the detail of this. So hopefully you have a better feel now as to what exactly it is we launched last week or a week ago. And I just wanted to wrap up with just a few sort of overarching remarks on it. These are complex changes. There's no way to do these things in a straightforward way. There are challenges. A lot of systems have to be addressed and changed to accommodate the level of change that we're bringing in. And it's partly for that reason, and mainly for that reason, actually, that we're doing this in a phased manner. So this is phase 1 of 11 different phases. We plan to do phase 2, as we said, in October this year, and then move into later phases over the next 3 years. But the changes are complex, a lot of stakeholders involved, a lot of local authority staff need to be involved in getting positions of bus stops and shelters correct, down to the drivers all need to be retrained to handle the changes in routes and timetables and approach and so on. And the Dublin Bus team, led by Gareth and others, and the NTA team that John had led and others have been involved in, have worked really collaboratively together. It's been a really excellent example of how collaborative working can in fact deliver something effective. Because we launched the 27th, there were things that needed to be changed on the day, but very, very few actually. A vast majority of the systems worked really well right from the start. And the drivers have responded to it and customers have responded to it. In fact, we've already seen growth on the corridors, which is very encouraging. However, change does bring comment. It's not for everybody. There's been a low level of response. We've had some, but fewer really than we had even anticipated. But we have had some people who have come through to say that they don't like the new network or ask more like, why are we making the changes? And we've tried to do our best to explain that. And in most cases, we have done that satisfactorily. COVID has played a part in this. I mean, we had planned to launch this a couple of months ago. We had to delay because of COVID. We weren't able to do the work on the streets because of the restrictions. And COVID will play probably a significant role in public transport going forward. Currently, we're only carrying about half of our customers. So we'll need to run this campaign again in September, if indeed in September society is reopening and people are returning to work and so on. So we'll need to keep reminding people of these changes, but the demand pattern is likely to change as well. We just don't know to what extent. Will people come back and continue to do the same number of short journeys, or will there be more walking and cycling? Will people be working from home more? Probably, but to what extent? Is that 1 day a week? Is it 3 days a week? Is it some blended model? And that in itself will probably change the demand of public transport that we will need to deliver. And we will respond to that, and we will move services around and move our resources around to match the demand. And as always, it's a good practice in a program of this scale. Lessons learned are hugely valuable opportunities for people to take an honest assessment of what went well, what could have been done better, what could we do differently. And we will learn. This is an iterative process. We will get even better at doing this. And both Dublin Bus and ourselves will participate in lessons learned, which will be fed into this network and into subsequent changes that we do. So that's all I was going to say at this stage, and I'll hand over to Mark again to see if there's any questions or if anybody wants to come in with questions.